The Flying Ship is a Russian folktale about a foolish youngest son who, with the help of magical companions he gathers, builds a flying ship to win the Tsar's daughter as his wife. After his two clever brothers fail, he is given provisions and a magical flying ship by an old man he helps. He then assembles a crew with special abilities, including a listener, a swift runner, a strong shooter, a huge eater, and a wood carrier whose wood can become an army to help him overcome the Tsar's impossible challenges, which include providing a massive feast and an army. The story in detail. The tale begins in a small village where a Tsar, the ruler of the land, makes a grand announcement. He declares that any man who can build a ship that sails through the sky, a flying ship, will have the honor of marrying his beautiful daughter, the princess. This incredible challenge sparks the interest of people far and wide, including a family with 3 sons. The 2 oldest sons were considered clever and capable, while the youngest was often called a fool because he was simple and kind-hearted. Believing they had a good chance of success, the 2 older brothers decided to try their luck. Their mother prepared the finest foods for their journey, packing delicious cakes, roasted meats, and expensive wines, wishing them well as they set off to build the magnificent flying ship and win the hand of the princess. The 2 older brothers journeyed into the forest, each hoping to be the one to succeed. Soon they encountered a small, hunched old man with a long white beard. The old man greeted them kindly and asked, "Where are you going, my sons?" The brothers, proud and dismissive, told him they were going to build a flying ship to marry the Tsar's daughter. The old man then asked if they would share some of their fine food with him, as he was very hungry. However, the brothers scoffed at the idea of sharing their good provisions with a poor old man. They rudely refused his request and continued on their way. Despite their cleverness, they wandered the forest for days but could not figure out how to build a flying ship. Eventually, they gave up and returned home in failure. After they left, the youngest son, the one called a fool, decided that he too would try his luck. His parents laughed at him, but he was determined. His mother gave him only a few stale crusts of bread and a bottle of water for his journey, not expecting him to succeed. The youngest son took what he was given without complaint and went into the forest. Just like his brothers, he met the same magical old man. The old man asked him the same questions, and unlike his selfish brothers, the kind-hearted boy happily offered to share his meager supplies. He opened his bag to give the old man the stale bread, but to his amazement, the bread had transformed into fresh, soft cakes, and his water had turned into fine wine. After they shared the meal, the grateful old man decided to help the boy. He told him the secret to getting a flying ship. Following the old man's guidance, the youngest son went deeper into the forest until he found a specific large tree. The old man had instructed him to strike the tree with his axe just once, and then to immediately fall to the ground and wait. The boy did exactly as he was told. He swung his axe, hit the tree trunk, and quickly lay down on the forest floor with his eyes closed. He waited for a moment, and when he opened his eyes, he saw a breathtaking sight. Where the tree had stood, there was now a magnificent ship, complete with golden sails and ornate carvings, floating gently in the air. It was a true flying ship. Overjoyed, the boy climbed aboard his new vessel. He felt a deep sense of gratitude towards the kind old man who had helped him. Without a moment's hesitation, he set a course for the Tsar's palace, ready to claim his prize. The ship moved gracefully through the sky, carrying the simple boy on the greatest adventure of his life, a journey that would bring him more than just a ship. As he sailed through the sky, the boy looked down and saw a man lying on the ground with his ear pressed to the damp earth. Curious, the boy landed the ship and asked the man what he was doing. The man replied, "I have such keen hearing that I can hear everything happening in the world." The boy was amazed and invited the man to join him on his ship. The man, who called himself Listener, gladly agreed. A little while later, they saw another man hopping on one leg with his other leg tied up to his ear. The boy asked him why he was traveling in such a strange way. The man explained, "I am so swift that if I were to untie my other leg, I would run to the end of the world in a single step. I tie it up to slow myself down." The boy, impressed by this incredible ability, invited the swift runner to join them, and he happily came aboard. The ship continued its journey, and soon they spotted a man with a rifle, aiming at something far in the distance. When the boy asked what he was shooting at, the sharpshooter replied that he could hit a fly on a flower 100 miles away. This incredible marksman also joined their growing crew. Next, they came across a man carrying a huge basket of bread on his back, yet he complained of being hungry. He explained that he was a voracious eater who could consume all the bread in the world and still want more. He, too, was welcomed aboard. They then found a man standing by a lake, looking thirsty. This man had the power to drink all the water in a lake and still not quench his thirst. He became the fifth companion. Soon after, they met a man carrying a bundle of wood on his back. When asked about it, he revealed that if he scattered the wood on the ground, it would transform into a mighty army of soldiers. The final companion they met was a man carrying a bundle of straw. This man had a unique power. His straw could bring about an intense, freezing cold, even in the middle of a hot summer. With his crew of 7 magically gifted individuals assembled, the foolish son felt confident as he steered his flying ship toward the Tsar's palace. Upon arriving at the palace in his magnificent flying ship, the boy presented himself to the Tsar. The Tsar was astonished to see a real flying ship, but he was also very displeased. He had no intention of letting his daughter marry a simple-looking peasant boy, whom he called a simpleton. Determined to get rid of him, the Tsar decided to test the boy with a series of seemingly impossible tasks, certain that he would fail. For the first task, the Tsar ordered the boy to provide a feast for his entire court by the next morning. The boy was worried, but his companion, the eater, told him not to worry. When a massive amount of food, enough for 1,000 men, was brought out, the eater consumed it all in a single sitting, leaving everyone in the palace stunned. Next, the Tsar demanded 12 barrels of wine and 12 barrels of mead, and the powerful drinker drank every last drop.